Hey everyone, this is your girl Sharifa, aka Shree, and welcome to the I'm Good podcast, or in better words, the I Feel Good podcast. If you are new here, welcome to the family. This is a podcast where I explore topics on mental health, physical health, nutrition, and everything in between. So if you're trying to get right and stay right mentally, this is definitely the place you want to be. And wait, before I begin, here's some quick info. Why did I name this podcast I'm Good? Simple. Because as people, from a cultural standpoint, whether we are down or happy, our favorite response to friends, families, or strangers is I'm good, even if we're not. It's completely normal not to feel happy all the time, but in the midst of whatever you go through, the saying I'm good can elaborate to so many different meanings. So yes, this is the place to be, whether you are down, happy, excited, and everything in between. I'm here to dish out knowledge, talk about current topics, and of course, lift you up. So feel free to go ahead and subscribe, share this podcast, leave a review, and tell a friend. Now let's go ahead and get started on today's show. Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And let me explain to you really quick. First of all, for starters, it's free. Yes, I said it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And I know most of you guys have a phone or computer, so it's so easy. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What's good? What's poppin'? Welcome back to the I'm Good podcast. I'm your host, Shree. If you are new here, what's poppin'? Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Listen, stay for a while. Get your pen, your paper, get your, I don't say virtual notepad. Use your phone, whatever it may be. Listen, stay for a while. Make sure you stay for this whole episode. And once you're done listening to this episode, make sure you check out all of the rest of the episodes. So we are on episode, I believe, 81. Episode 81, y'all. Crazy. This is crazy. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has tuned in to the I'm Good podcast. So like I said, if you are new here, what's good, what's poppin'? I hope you come over and join the I'm Good fam. And for my I'm Good fam, what's poppin'? I hope you guys are doing well. Listen, I love my I'm Good fam. Like, I listen. Them loyal listeners, listen, ain't nothing like it. So make sure too, if you're a loyal listener, make sure you go ahead and leave a rating review if you have not done so. Really quick and easy. Like I said, if you are listening to this on an Apple device, you can go ahead within the Apple Podcast app. You can go ahead and leave a rating review. It's really, really quick and easy. But if you're not listening to this on an Apple device, that is A-OK. Whatever other platform that you're using for your podcast, you can still go ahead and leave a review there. Also, too, this podcast is sponsored by www.allthingsshree.com. Make sure you guys go ahead and head over to www.allthingsshree.com and use promo code I'm Good fam to get 10% off your entire order. And that is a special promo code for all of my I'm Good listeners. Once again, use promo code I'm Good fam to get 10% off of your entire order. And yes, y'all, listen, on and popping. And also too, like I said, rate and review. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys go ahead and leave a rating and review. It doesn't take long to do it. It takes a couple minutes, seconds, whatever. It could be, now I will say it depends on if you're leaving a review, but if you're just going to leave a rating, it's very, very brief in regards to doing that. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. And also too, thank you to everyone who has checked out our midweek roll call. I've been doing the midweek roll call since October of 2020, I believe. Yes. We're not in October 2021 yet, but thank you to everyone who has tuned into the midweek roll call. If you have not checked it out, make sure you check it out. I'm not going to spoil it. So for my new listeners, I want you to check it out. For my I'm Good fam, you guys already know what the midweek roll call is about. And also, make sure you guys go ahead and share this podcast. I want to say thank you to everyone who has shared this podcast. Like, you guys are literally awesome. So if you could just take the time out to share this podcast, you can share it on your social media platforms. You can share it with friends. You can share it with family members, whoever may be. Share with your coworkers. Listen, your boo, your bae, your husband, your wife, your bestie, your sis, your brother. Listen, your cousin. Listen, you can share with anybody. So make sure you guys go ahead and share this podcast and help somebody out. Because like I said, with this podcast, if you are new here, this podcast is an all-in-one podcast. I talk about all things, I will say, health and wellness. So the wellness portion is in regards to self-care, self-development. And then I also talk about topics of health. So I talk about foods to eat to help improve your overall mental health, and just foods that you should eat to, remain healthy. So make sure you guys go ahead and share this podcast, because listen, it's deemed to help someone. Because you know how I know this information right here, let alone, has helped me. So if it has helped me, listen, I know it can help anybody. So make sure you guys go ahead and share this podcast with your boo, your bae, your husband, your wife, your sis, your bro, your cousin. Okay, whoever I'm missing, share it with them. So on today's episode, listen, y'all, I'm getting tongue-tied. On today's episode, I want to talk about, I want to bring it back to self-care, which is very, very important. I feel like a lot of us, we don't realize how important self-care is until we need it. And, I feel like we have to sometimes get to a point where we're not doing stuff like, and even myself, like I have to get to a point where it's like, I'm not doing stuff because I need to take a break. Like you shouldn't have to guzzle down water because you feel like you need it, like you're dehydrated. Honestly, we should be drinking water throughout the day. And a lot of times, and I'll get like this too, like mental exhaustion, where you just mentally exhausted and you like, oh my gosh, I need a break, or I need time to myself. We should honestly, or you should honestly, however you want to put it, there should be increments already in your daily routine or once a week, whatever it may be, where you can do things for yourself. So don't practice self-care until you have to, like there's no other choice. So today I want to talk about 7 simple ways to practice self-care. So these are things that I feel are fairly easy. Self-care does take a certain type of mental toughness or mental capacity to kind of motivate yourself to actually do these habits. But I just want to go back into the whole self-care and self-development and just talk about some things that you can do starting today, tomorrow, next week, whatever it may be. I want to talk about some things that you can do to improve your overall to improve your self-care routine. So if you already have a routine, these are things you can implement. If you don't have a routine, you can definitely implement this in regards to implementing a new self-care routine. So the first one on my list has to do with going back to your inner child. And what do I mean by this? So for me, something that makes me feel or brings me back to like my inner child, I would say, is like going on a swing. So oftentimes, like me and my mom, like we like to like walk around the park. And at the park that we go to, there are swings. And something that I really do enjoy, even though sometimes I'm like, okay, listen, Sheree, you can't just be hopping on a swing. You're a little too old for this. Not so much that I'm too old for it, but it does look childish. But anytime I do hop on a swing and I swing on it and I put my feet up and put it back, you know how you gotta just make yourself go higher and higher. It feels so good. And like, I really feel like a child. Like it brings out the innocence in me. And it just feels good. So the first thing I would say is in regards to self-care is think about something that brings out your inner child. What made you feel good? Was there something that you did when you were a child that just that made you feel free? It could be something as simple as it could be drawing. It could be a certain activity. It could be a certain song. Like, do something that will bring out your inner child. Something, like I said, that's good and positive, nothing negative or anything like that or traumatizing, but something that you can remember from your childhood that made you feel good. And so for me, like, I just feel like when I get on the swing, I feel like a child, and it feels so good. I feel like as adults, we tend to have so many responsibilities on us no matter what stage you are in life. There's always something. So just to go back to that world where it was like you had no responsibilities and life was so free, it feels good to get to that point. Another thing that makes me feel, free, and it helps me to go back to my inner child, is when I go bike riding. So when I go bike riding, it feels so freeing. Like, to me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel like a little girl again, like a little girl. I feel like a 12-year-old girl riding my bike, just feeling a wind against my face and just riding fast. Like, it feels so good. Like, just internally, I just feel like a little girl. So those are some things that I do, or those are some things that help make me bring out my inner child that I can think of right off the bat. I can't think of, there's probably other things I would say would be like writing. So for me, growing up, when I was young, I really enjoyed writing books and things like that. So when I get back to writing, when I get back in my writing zone with writing books, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bringing me back to when I was like in 5th grade, 4th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever grade. I was writing books, and it just felt so good. I mean, I never published those books, but it felt I would say it feels so good even to this day when I, actually take out my laptop or take out my notebook and I start writing a story. Like, it feels good. And I am going to get those published. Listen, we ain't going to be sleeping on my stories. Listen, I got stories, ready to go out and get published. So them stories are going to get published. So those are some examples of ways that you bring out the inner child in me. Number 2, and I talked about this before, especially this is for my single ladies, for my single fellas. And I will say, you can definitely do this too if you're in a relationship or if you're married. I don't know. But I would say is, go take yourself out on a date. So I'm going to say this more for the single ladies and the single fella. So go take yourself out on a date. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not yet done this in regards to taking myself out on a date per se. I have done things even recently where I'll go somewhere and I'll eat by myself, and that's like a big deal. But I haven't went to like a fancy place and was like, you know what? I'm gonna get all pampered tonight and take myself out on a date. That is actually something that I do want to do. Like, I want to take myself out on a date, but something in my head is like, girl, you might look a little crazy. But honestly, I've seen so many people say it in regards to ways to practice self-care, that taking yourself out on a date is something that can really help boost your self-esteem, boost your confidence. And this other YouTuber that I watch as well, I think her name is Beautiful Baby Brown Doll, something like that. And she was talking about how, well, now she is getting married. She's not, her fiance proposed to her boyfriend time proposed to her. And she talked about some of the things that she did, as she was like in her dating phase or just figuring herself out. She would say that she would basically take herself out on a date and she would go out to eat. And so that is one way you can practice self-care. I know it seems scary, especially in this day and age. It's like, what? Taking yourself out? Like, no, I need a man to take me out. Or a man might say, I need a woman. Well, generally, I feel like it's the man that takes the woman out. So I don't know if a man goes and eat by himself. I don't know. I know for us ladies it's a little different. So, but that is actually something that you can do to practice self-care. And like I said, I've done it where I'll eat by myself. Like even just recently, I had walked to some place. I was already out and I decided to walk to this place and get some food. The place is similar to like a Chipotle and very similar to it. And I was by myself and I decided just to sit down, grab a chair and eat by myself. And it felt really good and freeing. Now I will say I was on my phone because I'm like, okay, I low-key feel a little awkward, but I still went ahead and did it. So that's one way you can practice self-care. And I will say I felt very good, after the fact, just to know like, yes, listen, yes, you did that, sis. I felt very good knowing like that I didn't rely on no one else or just be like, oh, well, I'm not going to eat here by myself because so-and-so's not here. Like, it really felt good. And it helped boost my confidence. It really did. in regards to just, eating out by myself. Number 3, another way to practice self-care is, I talk about this all the time. We talk about this, is eating healthy. And I would say maybe, if there's a day you want to practice self-care, choose one day where you do strictly clean eating. What do I mean by that? No pastry, no sweets, no candy, none of that. And now if you're a diabetic like me, type 1 diabetic, and you need some sweets or something like that because your blood is low, that's one thing. But you can always drink juice, whatever. But if you want to practice self-care, maybe you could choose a meal. Maybe it's your dinner where you're eating clean. But eating healthy is so important in regards to self-care. I feel like it doesn't get a lot of recognition because it's always like, well, we already know what to eat. It's just that we just choose not to eat those things. But eating healthy is so, so important. It's important for your physical health. It's important for your mental health. And we talk about that all the time. So eating healthy is a really, really great way to practice self-care because you are what you eat. If you put in junk, well, I wouldn't say if you put in junk, you are junk. I would never say that. But when you put in clean food, you feel clean. You feel clean. You feel vibrant. When you eat junk food, a lot of times, I know me, if I'm eating junk food, I don't be feeling vibrant. I'm like, why did I eat that? So you want to make sure that you eat healthy. You want to make sure that you eat healthy overall to, just to improve your overall health and just to continue to maintain good health. But eating healthy is a really, really great way to practice self-care. The next one on my list is writing a gratitude list or making a gratitude list, or having a gratitude journal. And I talk about this as well. So having a journal or basically having a journal where you write down everything that you're grateful for. If that feels too daunting every day or once a week, whatever, I'll say every day you can write down at least 3 things that you're grateful for. Or at least once a week. Once a week, you can just notate, okay, this week passed, and these are some things that I'm grateful for. But honestly, I feel like the best way to kind of do it, just so that you can look back over it over time, is I would say try to do it once a day. For me, I do have a gratitude journal, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'll be on a streak where I'm like, boom, boom, bam, bam, and then all of a sudden I fall off. So it's not easy. It's really not easy, but I would say the best thing to do is to create a routine. Tell yourself, okay, before I go to bed at whatever, if you go to bed at 8, 9, whatever, at 9 o'clock, I'm going to write in it. So having a gratitude journal or writing a gratitude list will definitely help you with your overall self-care because you'll be able to recognize like, okay, I complain about this, but I am thankful for this. You'll become more thankful for your present moment. You'll become more thankful for the past and for the future or what may come if you practice gratitude. That's why in the beginning of this podcast, I always express gratitude. Expressing gratitude is so, so, so important. So important. Just telling people thank you. Just saying thank you is so, so important. So that's number 4 on my list in regards to ways to practice self-care. Number 5, the next thing I will say is pamper yourself. So when I say pamper yourself, this particular tip, I would say go for a massage. Now I know with the pandemic, with COVID, people are still lenient. I don't know people, I don't know how the massage business is doing. I really don't know. I haven't gotten a massage done. I don't think I could be lying. I don't know. I don't think I ever had a massage done by a professional. Maybe I feel like, I don't know. I never went to a spa place, but getting a massage done, pampering yourself, going to a spa place is another way to practice self-care. This can help you just relieve stress. You'll just feel good. And, you can give yourself a massage, you can definitely give yourself a massage, but, going to a place where, it just evokes just serenity, or if that's the word, serenity, but it evokes a calm atmosphere, will really, really help you in regards to your overall self-care journey or self-care routine. And I say that because I remember I'm really into, the crazy thing is, even though I've never really been to a professional massage place to have a massage, I remember going to this one massage place that I have where I live, and the atmosphere of it was so calming. It was very, very dim. The music was so nice. And I know that's how many massage places are, but I've seen a variety. I've seen some more bright lit up massage places, and I seen more dim. But this one was more like dim, but it just was so peaceful looking. So if you feel like you need to unwind and you just need a day to pamper yourself, I would say go ahead and get a massage. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing out here, especially with the pandemic, but they're probably still, if now that I think about it, depending on where you live, whatever it may be, they probably still are doing massages, because I actually just went into like a massage and spa place and I took like a pamphlet and the lady said they were still doing massages. So, I'm guessing the people that's doing the massages are probably, masked up. So that's another tip. And another way you could practice self-care is to go ahead and get a massage. The number 6 on my list is, I would say if you are into museums, go to a museum. For me, I actually do enjoy museums. And I'm not saying that, I don't know why I say I actually enjoy museums, but I feel like people don't really like talk about museums and stuff like that. But I actually really enjoy museums. And I feel like now, this day and age, especially with us millennials, Gen Z, whatever you want to call it, I feel like museums are now taking a different step. Museums are no longer just museums. So now you have selfie museums, where it's a place where you take selfies. Growing up, museums used to be like, I'm looking at this artwork, or I'm going to an art museum, which is still nice. But now there are so many museums. Like for me, I was supposed to go to New York City, which didn't happen because of like the flooding and stuff like that. So, hopefully everybody's safe out there, which was crazy. My prayers to everybody out there. Crazy that even happened. But I was supposed to go to New York City, whatever, but I didn't go because of the flooding. But I looked up, like I had seen some recommendations on TikTok, but there were like so many different, I would just say, exhibits or museums in New York City. So I would say, go to a museum. Like I said, back in the day, it used to just be like art museums. There are so many museums, but if that's what you enjoy, which I enjoy art, I love looking at art. You can go to an art museum, or just look up, like, type in on Google local museums, so wherever you reside, local museums, and take yourself out on a date, especially for my single ladies, some for my single fellas, or if you are in a relationship, your boo, your bae, your husband, your wife, whatever it may be. Listen, go to a museum, because it's something about a museum. I don't know. I feel like when you go to a museum, there's something about a museum that just makes you feel like, I don't know, this might be me. I just feel good. Like I feel calm. I feel at peace. I feel like no one's tugging on me. I feel like I'm just taking it all in. So that's number 6 on my list, is to go to a museum. And number 7, the last one I want to end off with has to do with physical activity. I would say go for a walk. I'm not saying go for a run. I'm not saying go to the gym. Well, you can go to the gym to walk, but I'm saying simply go for a walk. I cannot tell you guys how much walking has helped me in regards to my overall mental health and my physical health. I found out for myself personally, I actually lose weight. For me personally, I tend to lose weight faster with walking, and I'm not talking about treadmill, but I lose weight faster when I am walking. So, and then also too, I feel like I have, like my mind is a lot more clearer, and I feel like my mental health improves, and I feel like my mind is sharp when I walk. So go for a walk as a means of self-care. I don't care if you got to walk in your house, so be it. But if you can go outside and walk, go outside and walk. If that means if there's a track at your local gym, or if you got to walk on a treadmill, it all works, and it still will get the job done. But I will say I have noticed that walking, like just walking, physically walking without the use of exercise equipment such as a treadmill, I feel for me has been a lot more beneficial than a treadmill walking for me, because obviously you're walking on a treadmill, but the treadmill still basically, it's a machine that's moving back and forth. But that's the last one on my list in regards to practicing self-care. So hopefully you guys take these tips in, write down these tips. Like I said, these are just some, I would say, simple or not so simple ways to practice self-care. Like I said, these are things that you do have to implement. You have to mentally tell yourself, okay, I'm going to implement this, or I'm going to do a gratitude list. I'm going to eat healthy. These are things that you have to intentionally do in order to practice self-care. So it's time for this quote of the week. So this week's quote of the week is, self-care is how you take your power back. Listen, okay, y'all? Self-care is how you take your power back. So if you lost your power and you want it back, listen, practice that self-care. All right, I'm good, fam. You already know what time it is. We are now at the end of this week's show, and I hope this information was helpful, insightful, and everything in between. Do not forget to go ahead and subscribe to the I'm Good podcast. I'm your host, Shree. Make sure you guys go ahead and share this podcast, leave a review, and tell a friend. Okay, tell a friend, tell your boo, tell your bae, tell your husband, tell your wife, tell your bestie. Tell them all. Listen, tell them all. Tell your pastor, okay? Tell them all. And thank you again, everyone. As I always like to say, thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you again to everyone who has tuned in to the I'm Good podcast. Listen, y'all are some real ones. My new listeners, y'all some real ones. My I'm Good fam, my loyal listeners. I am so appreciative to you guys. So I just really honestly want to express my gratitude, and I want to say thank you guys once again for tuning in, and I will see all of my beautiful people next week. Bye-bye.